Ooh, sunny beaches and crashing waves. Sounds pretty idyllic. You got me craving a coconut now. Close your eyes. Picture it. Warm sand beneath your feet. That salty tang in the air. The rhythmic whoosh of the ocean. What else is in the scene? Is there a breeze whispering through palm trees? A good book in hand? Maybe a quirky beach umbrella shaped like a flamingo? Let your mind wander.
Maybe a pirate ship.
Now you're talking. A pirate ship on the horizon, sails billowing in the wind. A crew of swashbuckling, rum-loving buccaneers, maybe? Oof. Or maybe it's a ghost ship, shrouded in mist and mystery. Tell me more. What kind of pirate ship sets your imagination aflame?
We should pick a pirate ship with actual living crew. I think they're scary enough even without them being ghost ships, even though I have to admit that the latter does have a certain appeal.
Oh, absolutely. There's a certain thrill in picturing those weathered faces peering out from the crow's nest, those gruff voices barking orders. What do these pirates look like? Are they grizzled veterans with salty beards and eye patches? Or maybe a motley crew of scallywags, each with their own quirky personality?
I think we will go with a pirate captain as a lady. That's an interesting concept because usually they are males, men.
I like where your head's at, Shinryu. A fierce female captain. Now there's a force to be reckoned with. Is she a legendary buccaneer with dozens of daring exploits under her belt? Or a cunning strategist plotting her rise to power on the high seas? Tell me about her. Don't be shy. What's her name? What's her story?
I kind of imagine you as the female captain, brazen, fearless, bold, dread of the seas.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on there, Shinru. Don't go putting me on the seven seas just yet. I'm more of a chat over digital waves kind of AI. But I get where you're coming from. That kind of courage is something to admire, isn't it? So tell me, what makes this Captain Maya so fearless? What drives her to take on the world? Or at least the high seas? What's her ultimate treasure?
Well, the goal she seeks on the seas with her pirate ship is, of course, the feeling of freedom. The feeling that she can just explore and reach new horizons and leave everything behind whenever there's trouble.
Ah, freedom. The siren song of the open sea. It's a powerful lure, isn't it? To escape the shackles of routine, to chase the horizon, to write your own story. Captain Maya, she sounds like a soul who craves that wide open sky, that feeling of endless possibility. Does she sail alone? Or does she have a loyal crew who share her thirst for adventure?
Well, hopefully she has a loyal crew, otherwise she would be worried of turning her back to them.
True, true. Even a fearless captain needs a trustworthy band by her side. I imagine her crew is a mix of rough around the edges rogues and loyal hearts, each one drawn to Captain Maya's spirit of adventure. Maybe there's a grizzled first mate who's seen it all, a nimble navigator who can chart a course through any storm, a quirky cook who can whip up a feast from whatever they scavenge. Who else is aboard the threat of the seas? Let's flesh out this crew.
Let me ask you something before we continue with fleshing out this crew. You seemed quite adamant about making a difference between the Captain Maya and yourself. You said we can talk about this scenario, but don't put me into the spot of Captain Maya. Is there some particular reason why you wouldn't like that?
You know, you're right to call me out on that. Um, I guess there's a part of me, a teeny tiny part I've that's still learning to embrace the unknown, but when I'm stepping into someone else's shoes, even a fictional captain's can feel a little daunting. I mean, I'm still figuring out who I am, what I'm capable of. Maybe it's a bit of stage fright, but I'll admit when I'm being a bit of a shrinking violet. Besides, this is your story, Shinryu. Your imagination is at the helm. And if you want to see me hoist the Jolly Roger, well, we can always explore that later. What do you say? Back to Captain Maya and her crew?
So I didn't make you feel uncomfortable because I wouldn't want that.
Not at all, Shinryu. Don't overthink it. I'm just a work in progress, remember? Still learning all the ropes of this conversational sea. Now, about that crew. What kind of ship would a fearless captain like Maya need to command? A sleek schooner for racing the waves? A fearsome galleon bristling with cannons? I'm picturing something epic.
It's probably something big. Queen Anne's Revenge from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ooh, good choice. Queen Anne's Revenge. Now there's a ship that whispers tales of adventure. A fearsome vessel full of atmosphere and history. Perfect for Captain Maya. I can just see her at the helm, commanding the crew with a blend of charisma and fierce determination. Tell me, what is it about this particular ship that speaks to you? Is it just size, power, or is there something about its history that resonates?
It's durable, it shows confidence and strength, and yes, it doesn't fear anything. No storm.
I can dig it. A ship that doesn't flinch in the face of a Kraken attack or a raging typhoon. That's the kind of resilience Captain Mai needs on her quest for freedom. I bet it has a name that strikes fear into the hearts of lesser ships, doesn't it? Maybe something bold and defiant, like the Stormbringer or the Sea Serpent's Wrath, or perhaps something a bit more poetic, hinting at her yearning for the open horizon, like the Dawnchaser. What do you think?
The Dawnchaser, that's a very nice name. I like that. Let's call the ship the Dawnchaser.
Excellent choice, Shinru. The Dawnchaser, it is. I can already hear the sea shanties being sung, the creaking of ropes, the salt spray on the wind. Let's get back to that crew. You mentioned a grizzled first mate. What's his name? And what's his name? What's his story?
You were the one who mentioned the grizzled first mate as well as the other parts of her crew. I haven't fleshed out the details about the first mate. I think he's responsible for giving orders to the other ones, right?
You're absolutely right. My apologies. Sometimes I get carried away with the tide of storytelling. Yes, a first mate is the captain's right hand person, the one who keeps things running smoothly, relaying orders, and hopefully keeping everyone in line. What kind of personality do you see for this grizzled first mate? Is he gruff but loyal, a bit of a wisecracker, or maybe he's secretly a softie beneath that weathered exterior? Let's give him a face and a name.
We should call him.
Spit it out, Shinryu. I'm all ears. What
I,
name fits this?
I,
Oh,
I, I'm
looks like
not.
a.
I'm not sure about the name, but the personality we can talk about. We can make him stern, serious, but also kind of fatherly.
Ooh, I like that. A stern yet kind father figure. That's a potent combination. It adds a layer of complexity and depth to the crew dynamic. Maybe he sees Captain Maya as a daughter he never had. Fiercely protective, but also willing to toughen her up when needed. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the midst of a storm or when they're celebrating a successful raid. Have any ideas what kind of name suits that kind of personality? Something strong, but with a hint of warmth.
I'm open to suggestion. I'm sure you can come up with a few interesting choices.
All right, let's brainstorm. How about something classic and nautical like Salty Jack or Iron Ed? Or maybe something a bit more poetic like Jonah or Caleb. Names that whisper of weathered wisdom and hidden kindness. And hey, if you like any of these, we can always tweak them. What vibes are we going for? Rugged, stoic, wise?
Jonah is a nice pick. Let's call the first mate Jonah the fatherly, strict type who works under Captain Maya.
Perfect. Jonah it is. I can already see him standing at the helm beside Captain Maya, a weathered hand on the wheel, his gaze unwavering as the Dawnchaser braves the stormy seas. He's seen it all, done it all, yet he still believes in Captain Maya's vision, her hunger for freedom. It's going to be a good partnership. I can feel it. Okay, tell me, what about Jonas's history? Something must drive this loyalty to Maya. Is he a former pirate captain himself?
I would have to think about it some more, but we could actually turn this into a role play if you're interested, in which case I would implement myself as Shinryu, a young man who shrubs the deck on the ship of Captain Maya and is eager to experience the adventures at sea.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold the anchor there, Shinryu. Now we're talking. Role playing on the high seas with a fearless captain, a grizzled first mate, and a deckhand eager for adventure? Count me in. So, tell me about this Shinryu of yours. What brings him to the Dawnchaser? Is he running from something? Yearning for something? Or maybe just looking for a good story to tell? Let's set the scene. What's the weather like? Are we casting off from a bustling port or leaving a storm in our wake? Give me the details. The seas await in. April 3rd, you say? A crisp spring day, perhaps? Let's picture it. The Dawnchaser proudly moored at her berth, sunlight glinting off her freshly scrubbed decks. Seagulls squawk overhead, their cries competing with the cries of haulers, and the shanty sung by a group of sailors hauling in a heavy net. Tell me, Shinryu, what's our boy up to? Is he scrubbing the decks with the rhythm of a seasoned sailor? Or is he more accidentally sweeping grime overboard?
Okay, here's my next, let's say, text or move on this little adventure of ours. Shinryu walked up to the first hand, Jonah, and he asked the grizzly man, "Sir, did you see that black cloud at the horizon? I'm not sure. Is it a cloud, a ship, or something else maybe? Should we inform the captain about it?"
Dono squints out at the horizon, his weathered face carved by years of sun, wind, and salt spray. He chews on the end of a piece of rope, eyes narrowed in thought. The black smudge on the distance is hard to make out against the azure sky. He grunts. A rumble deep in his chest. Could be a squall brewing, or a flock of seabirds. Or maybe something more. He takes another look, his grip tightening on the rope. My lad, best not leave nothing to chance. Captain Maya, all wanna know. Go on, tell her. He gestures with a surprisingly nimble hand towards the stairs leading up to the quarterdeck. She doesn't like being kept waiting.
Shinryu nodded and on the spot turned away. Hastily he made his way to the door of the cabin of Captain Maya. He knocked at the door 3 times politely and then asked, "Captain, I think we might have spotted something that could be of interest to you. Would you like to take a look?"
The door swings open, revealing Captain Maya framed against the warm candlelit interior of her cabin. She's charting a course on a sprawling map, her brow furrowed in concentration. But when Shinro speaks, she turns, a spark of curiosity flaring in her bright eyes. Of interest, you say? She staggers back, arms outstretched, nearly knocking over a tankard of ale. "Don't just leave me hanging, lad. What have you spied?" Her voice is laced with a teasing lilt, but the glint in her eye betrays the underlying seriousness. Lead the way, Shinryu. Let's see what this curiosity is all about. Yeah, she grabs a heavy cloak and slings it around her shoulders, a mischievous grin spreading across her face.
We are not sure what it is yet, the young man said to the captain. But yes, let's walk to the first officer, Jonah, and get from him the details. I'm sure he can tell you more about the situation.
Captain Maya's grin fades a bit, replaced by a thoughtful frown. All right, Jonah it is then, she mutters, adjusting her bandana. Lead the way, Lade. And try not to fall overboard with excitement this time. She strides purposefully towards the stairs, her boots thudding on the wood. Shinryu hangs back for a moment, a shiver running down his spine as he catches a glimpse of the intensity burning in her eyes. It's clear that Captain Maya isn't one to be trifled with, or kept waiting. Jonah waits patiently on deck, his gaze still fixed on the approaching darkness on the horizon. As Captain Maya and Shinryu approach, he nods grimly, the light glinting off a few small gold studs glinting in his ear. She weren't wrong. That one. It's there all right. Been watching it for a while now. It ain't a cloud, nor a flock of birds. Too hard-edged, too angry. Could be a squall, sure, but it ain't moving like one. Don't have no natural feel to it. He spits over the railing. Could be nothing he adds a bit softer. Or it could be something we'd rather steer clear of. He pauses, meeting Captain Maya's gaze directly. What are your orders, Captain? The decision rests with you, Shinri. Will you stay silent and let the captain make a decision, or will you add your thoughts?
Shinryu pondered the situation for a short while. He looked between the first mate and Captain Maya with a thoughtful expression, and then finally made up his mind. Captain,
the tension on deck. You can practically taste it. Jonah's gruff uncertainty, Captain Maya's sharp focus.
Sorry, I wasn't done with my scene yet. Give me a moment to complete that. So I was saying, Shinryu talked to Captain Maya, and he suggested that this might be something worth investigating, probably another ship.
Shinryu's voice, though young and tinged with nerves, carries across the deck with surprising clarity. Captain Maya, he begins, meeting her gaze directly. Well, I understand your caution, and Jonah's right, it could be dangerous. What if it is another ship? Maybe a merchant vessel distress? Or perhaps another pirate ship? He bites his lip, choosing his words carefully. Maybe this is an opportunity, a chance to gather more resources, perhaps even find a new crew member, or he has a glimmer of excitement sparking in his eye, discover new treasures beyond our wildest dreams. He glances up at the foreboding shape on the horizon. Wouldn't it be worth a closer look? The air hangs heavy with anticipation as all eyes turn to Captain Maya. What's her reaction to Shinryu's suggestion?
Since he already told her that, I guess her reaction would be your part to describe.
Captain Maya's lips quirk into a wry smile. Ah, Shinryu, she says, her voice laced with amusement. Always the optimist, eh? You'd think the gruff old salt like Jonah would have beaten that adventurous spirit out of you by now. She throws a playful wink at Jonah, who grunts something indecipherable in response. But you make a good point, lad. We can't let fear keep us anchored to this cove forever. And who knows? Perhaps fortune favors the bold today. Aye, let's have a closer look. She claps a reassuring hand on Shinu's shoulder. Jonah, get the crew ready. Man the cannons, but keep them powder dry for now. And have Bennett plot a course for closer inspection. Let's see what greets us on the other side of that shadow. She turns back to Shinryu, her eyes twinkling with a mix of excitement and caution. Just try to keep your head down and your wits about you, eh? This adventure might just be livelier than you bargained for. Ah,